Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, text number 29. Aditsar Annapananam Asan Kuksham Pranadaya Nadya Samudra Chetayos Tustit Pustis Tadashtraye. Once again, Aditsar Annapananam Asan Kuksham Pranadaya Nadya Samudra Chetayos Tustit Pustin Tadashtraye. Synonyms: Adistar, desiring to have, Annapananam, of food and drink, Asan, there became, Kukshit, the abdomen, Anta, the intestines, Nadya, and the arteries, Nadya, the rivers, Samudra, seas, Cha, also, Tayo, of them, Tusti, sustenance, Pusti, metabolism, of them, Ashe, the source. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhagavad Chanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation: when there was a desire to have food and drink, the abdomen and the intestines and also the arteries became manifested. The rivers and seas are the source of their sustenance and metabolism. Purport: the controlling deities of the intestines are the rivers, and those of the arteries, the seas. Fulfillment of the belly with food and drink is the cause of sustenance, and the metabolism of the food and drink replaces the waste of the bodily energies. Therefore, the body's health is dependent on healthy actions of the intestines and the arteries. The rivers and the seas being the controlling deities of the two, keeping the intestines and the arteries in healthy order. So, after the series of nectarian discourses concluded by His Holiness Srila Swami Maharaj, to whom I am indebted eternally, my presentation of this day is just like on a beautiful sunny day in the winter, a sudden change of the weather to a blizzard, snow blizzard. So please try to follow it. I will read once again the translation. When there was a desire to have food and drink, the abdomen and the intestines and also the arteries became manifested. The rivers and the seas are the source of their sustenance and metabolism. Before I begin, I seek the blessings of all the devotees present, so that I can speak something meaningful and pertaining to the subject matter of this day's sloka. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Shah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pachatya Desha Tarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we understand in this sloka for all our activities that we depend on the demigods. Each one is responsible for each and every activities that carried on in our bodily functions, day-to-day functions. Even when we sleep, to get up, before we get up, there is a demigod that is responsible for us to bring us to awakening state and making us reminding. Another one is reminding us that I am so and so. Let's say that, okay, Dhananjaya Pandita, you are so and so. I mean, okay, you are so and so, and you are the priest here in the ISKCON temple of Naperville, and your responsibilities. Now get up and carry on your day-to-day activities. So that is also, there is one demigod responsible for each and everything. We depend on the demigods responsible for those certain activities. But unfortunately, ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyati, we think, and we hear people saying that, yes, I am a self-made person. I am not depending on anybody. I am responsible for all my position, what I am today. It's purely my hard work and my endeavor by which I've just reached this stage. All this we brag on. But unfortunately, this is the situation of every one of us who is not reminded every time that I am the insignificant servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And my duty is to serve the senses of Rishikesha, Sevan, Uttama. So then we understand our insignificant nature and carries on our services. There is no problem. Otherwise, we are bogged down in each and every moment of our life when we don't understand that what is our insignificant nature. Simply we will be just put to test, and there we simply keep crying. But one who understands the real position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and our dependence on the Supreme Lord for all activities, we really become humble. We humble ourselves. For here, we have this, even for these things, like in the subject matter that is here, and the desire to have the food and drink, the abdomen and the intestines are also, the arteries became manifested. So for this function, we have even the digestive systems like Aham Vaishwanaro Bhuta Praninam Sarva Dehinam Pranapana Samayam Pachamyanam Chaturvidam. These 4 types of the food stuff that we honor, and to get those things digested, we have Jataragni, that is according to the Ayurveda, in our stomach, which helps us digest all the food stuff that we have taken. And we also have in Gurvastikam in the morning, every day morning we sing Chaturvida Sri Bhagavat Prasada Swaganna Truptan Hari Bhakta Sangha Kritvaiva Truptim Bhajitam Sudaiva Vande Guroham Sri Charanaravinda. So these are all the scriptures, all in conformity of each and everything. When we say, and there are certain things in Bhagavad Gita, there is one sloka also that we have the same thing. We will say, Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashtitam Pranapana Samayutam Pachamyanam Chaturvidam. This is Chaturvidam is the 4 types of the food stuff that we just honored. And here also in Gurvastakam that says Prasadan Haribhakta Sangham, Kritraiva Krutyam Bhajitam Sudaiva, Chaturveda. So here also it confirms that is 4 types of foodstuff that the human being we just honor. We then, and how that is being digested in our stomach by the help of this Jataragni, what Ayurveda confirms that way. So here in this sloka, it reminds me of the Bhagavad Gita sloka that is 15:14, that same thing what I just read out. The translation is, I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuffs. The purport goes like this. According to the Ayurvedic Shastra, we understand that there is a fire in the stomach which digests all food sent there. When the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger. And when the fire is in order, we become hungry. Sometimes when the fire is not going nicely, treatment is required. In any case, this fire is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedic mantras, Brahad Aranyaka Upanishad 5.9.1 also confirms that the Supreme Lord or Brahman is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuffs. Ayam Agnir Vaishvanaroyo Yam Amtha Purushe Yanedam Annam Pachyate. Therefore, since he is helping the digestion of all kinds of foodstuffs, the living entity is not independent in the eating process. Unless the Supreme Lord helps him in digesting, there is no possibility of eating. He thus produces and digests foodstuff, and by his grace, we are enjoying life. In the Vedanta Sutra, in the Vedanta Sutra 1.2.27, this is also confirmed. Sabdadiyodyo nityanthya pratisthana. The Lord is situated within sound and within the body, within the air, and even within the stomach as the digestive force. There are 4 kinds of foodstuffs. Some are drunk, some are chewed, some are licked up, and some are sucked. And he is the digestive force for all of them. So by this we understand even the water that we drink, the food that we eat, all these are needed. The certain demigods who are responsible for that to go, our system go on, means the food is the intake, whatever we have taken, that is digested and several parts of the body is been nourished, right? So I just sometimes wonder how so many these things are there that for everything, there are certain things like, can we do this thing, or can there be blood produced by putting in some certain machine that we eat, like all the foods that we eat, and the scientists say that we have control on everything like that. But can they produce blood just like that? But then why do they need any kind of things? Some person, okay, blood donation camps they conduct to just take blood, like they can't. Even they try whatever the ways and means that they have, they brag to the situation that yes, we have control over so many things. We are just finding out even how we can just conquer over death also. These are all impossible. But we understand by this the blood. For example, this, or even if we take anything like when we take eyes, ears, and even any part of our body, how intricate systems those are simply working, by which we can't just understand anything. There's so many millions and billions of cells in the lungs, they say that, and then by particularly doing particular process of pranayama, we can have them cleared, because whatever there's some clogging in those cells and something like that, by certain process of pranayama. Of course, this is again coming from the science of our Vedic science that is coming, doing it particular at point of time in the morning, certain point of yogic postures that we can clarify, we can clear our lungs, we can clear our systems, digestive systems or anything like that. There are delineated procedures by which, by adopting, we can certainly be healthy. But being healthy, that is the purpose of carrying out the services of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is what it is. Otherwise, a person going into the gymnasiums and carrying out so many different exercises to become so something bodily fit for doing what? The materialistic activities, but not in the service of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, this is Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevan Uttama, because the giver of the senses, that is the controller of the senses, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by for whom we are indebted in all aspects of our lives. We just carry on everything that is to please the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master, engaging in the services or as delimited by in the scriptures, engaged in the services of Krishna, then we can perfect our lives. But otherwise, what is the point of living life for hundreds of years without having been engaged in the service of Krishna? Even that's why there is a saying, it is living like a crow for so many years is what use of that is, but living like a swan even for a day is wonderful. It means to say that the acharyas have given us the systematic pattern of life, that what all the way that we engage, the Srila Prabhupada has given everything in our ISKCON society, how we should be conducting ourselves that day, how that getting up for the Mangalarati and carrying on those things as prescribed and doing or serving the Lord, engaging in the services of Krishna in various aspects, those are given to us. So that is the perfection of life, than living the many years without any engagement in the service of Krishna. That's of no use. So as all these, the procedures, all these day-to-day activities, those are given for us in that it is taking us into the the aspects that are given in the Shastras, the way we should be conducting ourselves, the way we have to interact with the other living entities, and all these are given. So accordingly, when we conduct ourselves, there is a possibility of having these systems working together, and that will help us even in these, as we are depending on everything, depending on the demigods. That is the meaning of living, is by having these senses engaged in the service of Krishna. That is a real purpose of living. There's a meaning to our living and conducting our activities in the service of Krishna. So here, even in this aspect, we have to say there are different samskaras, as we say here. Even for the first grain that we conduct this Annaprasana, first grain ceremony, we have this, we invoke the presence of the Lord, saying this, this look the same as 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 14th word, there is Aham Vaishvanara Bhutva. So we invoke the presence of the Lord in that particular body. When we invoke, chanting these mantras, invoke the presence of the Lord to enter into the body of the individual, to carry on these digestive systems accordingly, and helping the individual to nourish or have this sustenance. So for these activities, here again, the Upanishads, that is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 5.9.1, that is also confirmed that Supreme Lord is, or the Brahman is situated in the form of fire within the stomach, as we already said that the Jataragni. So that is helping us to digest the food, all kinds of foods that we intake, those things. So that is I am Agnir Vaishvanaro Yo Yam Amta Purushe Enam Annam Pachyate. So this is how, therefore, since he is helping in digestion of all kinds of foodstuffs, the living entity is not independent in eating process. Of course, it is also given us how much to eat, when to eat, how to eat, what to eat. We indiscriminately, we just go on doing things whimsically. That is going to lead us to so many problematic situations. That is why it is given. When we just have what time that just that foodstuffs to be honored and how it is honored. So we have that the particular procedures that we just anything we offer to which is not offered to Krishna, we don't eat, and the times that when to eat, how to eat, these procedures are given. We just when we follow these systems, we are certainly we can maintain our body in a healthy situation and engage ourselves into the service of Krishna. So these things are to be adhered at all situations of our life, which will help us maintain our healthy body where we can engage it in the service of Krishna. This is the understanding that is given in these slokas, or all other things that our procedures for each and everything what happens is conducted by the particular demigods, or even for opening the eyelids that we have, there is a particular demigod responsible. We understand that even the gopis, the gopis just for even a winking of the eyes, they find fault with the creator Brahmaji, saying that what creator are you? You just by keeping this procedure, keeping the eyelids closing, for that particular point of time, we are bereft of darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is how we understand this. Whatever the activities that going on in our body, all each and every activity, there is a particular demigod responsible by which these things are carried on. So that's what we are indebted to each and everyone. But then we can just perform services or to each and every. When we say the 33 crore demigods, we can do that. But then, as it is said, by watering the root of the tree, the entire tree is nourished. We foolishly just we don't water the twigs, branches, and leaves, and whatever it is like that. Similarly, it is said when we eat, the food stuff is supplied to the stomach, and stomach carries on its kind of digestive systems, comes into a place, and that is digested and then converted into the blood, and then that is pumped into the different parts of the body as per the requirement, and that is how we are able to sustain. So these things, when we understand and cooperate, and as suggested by the Supreme Lord in Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to have, that is the peace formula. What Prabhupada explains, the peace formula, adopting that peace formula, we will be able to maintain our life very systematically by engaging ourselves in the service of Guru and Krishna and all the Vaishnavas. So that is the peace formula, as Prabhupada suggests that. And then we certainly have to be understanding that we are not independent, we are depending on each the demigods for every activities that is carried on in our body, even if right from the winking of our eyes or until to the extent of even speaking or closing eyes or moving a hand or finger or anything. So this is what is our thing that we have to be understanding that. So I think there's another 5 minutes to go. I would like to just invite any kind of the comments and questions or anything like that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was just thinking, Prabhuji, that, our soul, it's actually, Krishna says, Mamai Vamsho, Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta. It is Krishna's, the soul belongs to Krishna. Now, when we are going through these verses, our body, the eyes have to do with the sun, and tongue has to do with the Varuna, and the fire god Agni, and then our sense of touch has to do with the trees or the Devatas, and now our belly and our arteries have to do with the rivers and the seas. Our human body seems like such a universal thing in itself. It has so much to do with everything around us. It is not at all material, I feel. It's completely an instrument of divine, this thing. I felt like that. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your very
Who is
nice
dropped,
class.
I don't see him, Mataji.
What happened to Prabhuji? He got disconnected, I think, somehow. Maybe his phone charge got over or something. Something like that. This was my thought. Hare Krishna.
He's trying to join, I think, so I didn't answer my phone. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for the interruption, momentarily interrupted.
Sandhya Mataji was sharing.
Hare Krishna, please come on, Mata. Sorry for the interruption. There's some problem. I think some update, something it went on.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I was just reflecting on the human, our body and the soul. The soul actually belongs to Krishna, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. It's part and parcel of Krishna. Now, when we go through these verses, our eyes have a sun god for the Devata. Our speech has the fire god. Our taste has got the Varuna in charge, like that. And our sense of touch, the trees are the Devatas. And for our belly and our intestine and the blood flow, the rivers and the seas. So I feel our body is kind of a universal thing in itself.
Yes.
It has to do with everything around us too, that, and everything God has created is kind of in our reflected in us some way.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
that is
Thank
what
you
the
so
spirit of these slokas, whatever is saying, that is what it explains, so that is, we can certainly conclude, yes, that is so. What you exactly said, that is what it is.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the nice class. A very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to
Hari
Sri.
Dhananjaya Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, Guru Gauranga. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, I remember one of the pastimes of, I don't know which Devata was it. Is it a fire god? I'm not sure, because he he had indigestion, and he'll ask Krishna,
Yeah,
he burns that forest.
Pandava one of forest, yes.
Kandava products, yeah.
Yes.
So, but so even devatas also have that problem. So yesterday, one question came up that Radha Kunja Bihari Prabhu was asking. All these devatas, they are actually controlling, and for all the living entities. But even if devatas have the problem, whom do they go to? That means they have to go to where? Because
Yeah,
who is controlling their stomach, right? That
we
was one.
have, yes, we do have in Indra's episodes like that. So when he thinks he is the controller, Krishna can really teach every one of us, including demigods, a nice lesson so that they understand, yes, what we really are, what is our real position is. So, but they are controlling the activities of our human beings and their Adidevatas, like it is delineated here in the scriptures, and they themselves are not responsible for their own things. That Supreme Lord is the one who's by whose grace they just carry on or their own activities also like that. Yes, these are all the things that we have to understand. Even Lord Brahma and Shiva are not capable of understanding the Supreme Lord's activities. So what to speak of a tiny infinitesimal like our small in the Jiva souls like us? It is said in the scriptures, even Lord Brahma and Shiva cannot understand a tiny thing about Krishna, a small fraction of that portion of that. So what to speak of us? So they do have the demigods all have their problems. That is that the Supreme Lord is responsible for that also actually. That is what even once in one lecture it is said, Krishna doesn't have to do all these kind of things to come as appear as Lord Narasimha. He can just give a slight kind of heart attack to just kind of thing to this Hiranyakashipu. That's the end of the story for anybody for that matter. But for all these activities, the millions of years after that, we keep discussing these things because that is pastimes, no? Those pastimes, it's just for the pleasure of the devotees. Paritranaya sadhuna minashaya chadushkutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yage. So he comes for these purposes and just like that. He doesn't have to, even his own pure devotees can do that. But then he comes out of kindness and all that, then by which we are even now discussing these pastimes, the Supreme Lord's pastimes. So that is how these are all, even demigods, they are not independent. They are also depending on Supreme Lord. That is what it says, the pastime of this. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah, I see. Of course, everything is under the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
No other way. But I think that means as a living entity, we are still, we have to become, our consciousness has to be pure and become a, I don't know what to say, but that as the pure devotees, they cannot control. It's all the under the jurisdiction of Krishna, not the demigods. So maybe we should get there one day at least.
But similarly, that's what it is, that we are thinking that we just the understanding is that when we water the root of the tree, that is, we serve the Supreme Lord, then everybody else is satisfied. Like all the entire tree is nourished by watering the root of the tree. And similarly, all demigods will be happy. There's no point of controversy in that. So there is always a peace formula. By doing this, they will be happy, and then similarly, automatically things will be fine.
Prabhu, based on your, I think you read from few scriptures.
Yeah.
Is there any specific mantra to improve our digestion?
Mantra for digestion, improve our digestion?
Yeah.
So mantra, of course, I didn't come across what those things like, oh, now when we read this Purusha Sukta, that is just know how these things like that. So those are things like that. But there are certain things by certain procedures, like they say, even for diseases could be cured by particular musical instruments, that playing of the instruments, and by sadhana, by chanting those particular things in particular meter. There are certain things, yes, that is not out of place to mention these things, what you brought out. There are, that what I also have read, that there are certain things, some these musical instruments by particular, at the particular prahara of the day, when we use that instrument and sing those things in that particular meter, there are certain, yeah, the diseases can be cured. That is, yes, I did hear about that, but I can't just remember what it is like that. But there are certain things like that. What the music, or music chanted in a particular musical instrument played, and the particular slokas written as read in a particular meter at the specific time, so that can cure the diseases. There is.
Yeah, because when I was years ago, when I was little, but means as a child, there was a sprain in my leg, right? My grandmother used to chant one mantra with one of the, just like an iron key, some iron key. She will do, and then that whatever that sprain will go away in next morning, and nothing is there. So that those mantras still work. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, even now, because even in my childhood, I remember there was even a scorpion bite. Even this place, even later part of the time, I heard even you can call by phone, on phone, you can call and then inform him. Then he will chant the mantra from being in a particular distance. Then distance doesn't matter. That person will be relieved of the pain. Even the snake bite. Also, there are certain things, because there are people who does, but then now that become a business kind of thing, those things will not work on like that. But then those, they were in a service motto, they were performing those things, and there are these mantras are all coming from our Vedic wisdom. This is all Vedic wisdom only. It's not kind of a farce, something like that. It is, of course, there are.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All to nice discussion between you and Balram Prabhu. Prabhuji, just to add into the same thing, right now it is different, but earlier when kids used to have problems in speech, particularly like they were stuttering, or there was lisp or something, there are specific Sanskrit shlokas, and everyone in India used to speak Sanskrit, from all corners, and there were shlokas from Sanskrit which were attributed to specific demigods, and depending on the problem, it would be either worded with a single, syllable, like sha, sa, ta, whatever that, or it would be missing particular syllables, and then they would say, chant this so many times every day, and within X number of days it would be gone. And that has been even in modern days, it has been proven, but people don't adapt it because devotion is very difficult to understand and go by faith and stuff like that. But I just wanted to mention that even today those mantras work, so I just wanted to bring that in.
Yes, yeah, fully agree with your statement. That is certain, because we have seen that. I have seen myself those things that where these mantras did work, and it was really something very kind of thing. Yes.
Prabhuji, if you have one more minute, I want to go back onto the original question I was asking yesterday. Though you answered it, you answered it at a very high level. My question was more like, if the demigods were created by Brahma, and if you really look at it, the demigods are either situated in the heavenly planet, but there are 7 layers of upper planets, all the way up to Satyaloka. So if the living entities who are above the heavenly planets, like Satyaloka or Tapaloka, Janaloka, all these things, they are all above the Svargaloka, which is the domain of Indra. And Indra is the one who controls Mitra, Varuna, and all these people whom we are talking about. Now, does that mean for all those living entities who are above the Indraloka, the Lord is going to take care of their digestion or bodily activities and all those things? Yeah, is that true even for Brahma? and everyone down below until Indraloka? That is the actual question, Prabhuji.
You see, if the Supreme Personality of cause of is, it is said he is a cause of all causes. When we say that, that one statement can eradicate all these sorts of things. What if I just have to say the broader aspect like that? Excuse me. So he is a cause of all causes, no matter what cause, because there are again no classification of that cause, right? There's no classification in causes. This falls in this classification and this falls in this classification, right? So he is the cause of all causes. It means the Supreme Lord is responsible for those things. That's what I just conclude myself for my little understanding. That is what it is.
Yeah. Please forgive me, Prabhuji, because sometimes my I don't know
No,
the
that's good too.
material thought process of rationalism kicks in, and it's difficult to put that serpent under the bed without getting.
We should have those kind of doubts. It's nothing wrong to have doubts. It is better, no, but when we can even, it is not within our capacity to clarify those things, we can just approach the all spiritual masters like that. There's no, yeah, then we get an ample opportunity to clarify those things. So that's really wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Otherwise, we can, Lakshmi Kant Prabhu, we can otherwise close down for the day.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Panchakalpatarubhya Chakrapa Sindhavya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.